The hotel room reeked of wealth, whiskey, leather, power. That's why I was here, why I said yes. I knocked, a voice called out, "Come in." I stepped inside, smoothing my dress, slipping into the role. Then I saw him, glass in hand, legs crossed, eyes locked on mine. My mother's new fiancé. Yeah, you heard that right. And believe me, it got crazier from there. I wasn't forced into this life, no tragic backstory. I chose it, and I'm damn good at it. That's what my family hated most. They wanted a daughter to brag about a respectable job, white picket fence, the whole boring package. Instead, they got me a woman who craved excitement, control, power. This job gave me all of it. Men paid for a fantasy, and I became it. Sometimes I was the mysterious stranger they couldn't have, sometimes the girl next door with a wicked secret. I could be anyone they wanted, and I loved every second. When my family realized I wasn't ashamed, that I relished what I did, they cut me off. Now I watched their perfect lives through a screen, engagement announcements, fake smiles at fancy dinners, captions screaming, "Look at me, I have it all." Meanwhile, I had it all my way. No pretending, no playing nice, just me. A new city, a job where men paid to make me their perfect fantasy. And trust me, I never disappointed. The work was predictable in its own way. Men varied, but their habits didn't. Late mornings, lunch at a cafe where no one asked questions, a workout not for health, but to keep the shape they expected. Then shopping, because when men throw money at you, you spend it. Nights were where it got interesting, silk dress, heels, red lips, confidence like armor. I checked my phone, scrolled through requests, negotiations, confirmations. Some wanted to talk, some wanted company, some wanted escape. I gave them exactly what they paid for. I was about to call it a night when my phone buzzed, a new number. I almost ignored it, then saw the message, "2 VIP clients, high pay, private location." Interested. My fingers hovered over the reply. VIP meant serious money, serious men, and I never said no to that. I typed back, "Send details." The reply was instant, penthouse suite, midnight. No names, no chit-chat, just business, and a number that made my pulse jump. I should have hesitated. VIPs could be unpredictable, arrogant, dangerous, wanting more than they paid for. But with that price, no way I was saying no. I slipped into the routine, hot shower, light perfume, flawless makeup that made men weak the moment I walked in. In the mirror, I adjusted my black silk dress, fitted to perfection, not just to look good, but to own the room. If I was giving myself to them, they'd think it was their idea. One last deep breath game, face on. I reached the Las Vegas hotel just before midnight. The elevator ride was smooth, silent, carrying me to the top floor. I knocked twice. A voice called, "Come in." I stepped through, and there he was. My mother's fiancé, Charles, glass in hand, legs crossed, staring right into me. My heart slammed against my ribs. I'd seen his face before on my mother's social media, smiling at family dinners, holding her hand in engagement photos, the perfect man. Now he was here. I gripped my clutch tighter, trying to process. The other man, older, sipped his whiskey quietly, watching with mild amusement, like this was just another night. But Charles was different. He wasn't surprised, wasn't rattled. If anything, he was entertained. He leaned back, swirling his drink, taking me in. Finally, he smiled. "Huh." One word laced with curiosity, almost disappointment. He let the silence stretch, watching me squirm. He was testing me. I didn't know why, but I knew a power play when I saw one. I squared my shoulders, forced my body to relax. If he wanted to play, I'd play. I gave him a slow, knowing smile. Didn't expect to see me here. His lips twitched like he was deciding something. He set his drink down, leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "No," he said, smooth. "I expected someone better." His words cut sharp, deliberate. The older man chuckled softly, but I barely noticed. My focus locked on Charles, his eyes tracking my reaction, waiting for me to crack. I didn't. I stepped forward, easing into my role. I tilted my head, dragging a manicured nail down the strap of my dress. "Maybe you should wait till we're done to decide." His smirk deepened, a low exhale through his nose, amused. "Yeah, well, you're the professional, aren't you?" I smiled, and he reached for me, slow, deliberate, a test in itself. I didn't pull back. I let him kiss me, the air thick with tension, heat, the kind of charged silence that crackled between bodies that knew exactly where this was going. His eyes burned into me, sharp, assessing, waiting for a reaction I refused to give. I held his gaze, unflinching. If he was challenging me, I'd pass. If he was waiting for me to break, he'd wait forever. He moved, slow, deliberate, one hand grazing my thigh, fingers trailing up, barely touching. The other slid to my waist, firm, confident, no hesitation, like he knew I wouldn't stop him. I exhaled, long and slow, fighting the shiver threatening to betray me. My pulse pounded, a steady drum sinking low, matching the relentless pressure of his hands. His breath grazed my jaw, teasing warm, a silent invitation. I could have walked away, but I didn't. His lips found my neck, a slow burn of heat and pressure, and something inside me snapped. My fingers wandered over his chest, feeling the tension coiled beneath his skin, the hard lines, the steady breath of controlled restraint. I could feel it, the way his muscles tightened under my touch, the slow exhale against my throat, like he was holding back, seeing if I'd move first. So I did. I reached for his jacket, sliding it off his shoulders, letting it fall in a careless heap. His shirt followed my fingers, quick on the buttons, trailing over warm, taut skin. He smirked, a low, rumbling sound in his chest. Impatient, I didn't answer. I pushed him back just enough to shift the balance, to remind him I wasn't some wide-eyed girl caught off guard. This was my game. I settled into his lap, feeling his breath shift, his fingers digging into my hips, not to push me away, but to hold me there, exactly where he wanted. From the corner, the clink of ice in a glass, a quiet chuckle. The older man, Victor, didn't move, didn't speak, just watched, his gaze like an invisible hand tracing my body, lingering on how I pressed against Charles. Charles didn't care. If anything, it fueled him. His grip tightened, hands mapping every curve, every dip, claiming what he wanted. I let him let the tension coil between us, thick, intoxicating, suffocating in the best way. When his lips found mine, I forgot why this was wrong. The world shrank to the space between us. Nothing else existed but the feverish pull of his hands, the heat pulsing between us, the raw hunger neither of us bothered to hide. I leaned into it, his body against mine, the rhythm slow, deliberate. He moved like he had all the time in the world to unravel me, no rush, no fumbling, just a steady build of heat tightening with every slow move, every sharp inhale, every desperate sound I couldn't hold back. His touch was precise, measured, designed to break me. Every shift, every angle, every press of his hips was calculated. I clenched my jaw, nails digging into his skin, trying to hold on to something, anything, before I lost myself completely. A low, rasping chuckle came from the corner. I'd almost forgotten we weren't alone. Victor set his empty glass down with a soft clink, his presence shifting closer. The air stirred thick with a new kind of tension. I stiffened for half a second, long enough for Charles to notice. His hand slid down my back, slow, reassuring, not letting me pull away. A smirk flickered across his lips, voice rough, teasing. "Relax." Victor's fingers brushed my spine, light testing not demanding just there a silent question. I swallowed hard, my breath uneven, my body answering before my mind caught up. I didn't stop him. Charles didn't object, as Victor's touch grew bolder, tracing the curve of my waist, mapping the lines Charles had already claimed. The shift was subtle, like the moment before a storm. The air buzzed heavy with anticipation. I felt it, the slow descent into something inevitable. Heat rose, pressure coiling deep in my stomach, sharper, tighter. In seconds it overwhelmed me. Caught between them, one leading, one testing, both pulling me deeper into something I wasn't sure I could come back from. I didn't want to stop. Faster, rougher, the last scraps of control slipped away, replaced by something reckless, primal, dangerous. Charles's grip bruised my hips, his breath ragged, chasing the inevitable. Victor followed, and then it broke, a sharp gasp, a desperate moan, my body tensing, then melting, spiraling into a raw, relentless release that stole the breath from my lungs, left me trembling, undone. Charles cursed under his breath, his movements frantic, losing himself right beside me. A low groan, a sharp inhale, a final shuddering release. Silence followed, heavy, the echo of what we'd done hanging thick in the air. I stayed there, caught between them, my skin still burning, body humming. Charles leaned back, smirking, fingers tracing lazy circles on my hip. "Damn," he murmured. Victor exhaled, reaching for his drink, taking a slow, satisfied sip. "Worth every penny," he said, voice smooth, amused. I swallowed, hard breath still uneven. It was over. The room felt different now. Colder, heavier, like the weight of what happened had settled into the walls. I slid back into my dress, smoothing the fabric with steady hands, ignoring how my skin still buzzed with their touch. When I glanced up, Charles was watching, that same unreadable look, that same quiet amusement, like he'd won something. I could tell my mother ruined everything, but I knew better. She wouldn't believe me, not because she trusted him, but because she didn't trust me. I was the disappointment, the one who threw away the life she wanted for me. If I told her, she'd convince herself I was lying, jealous, vengeful, trying to sabotage her happiness just because I could. And that's exactly why he did it. He knew I had no power here, knew I'd keep this to myself, swallow it like I'd swallowed everything else they didn't want to hear. It wasn't about attraction, it was a lesson, a message, a reminder that I was still the outsider looking in. I grabbed my clutch, my heels clicking on the floor as I headed for the door. I didn't look back, didn't give him the reaction he was waiting for. I stepped into the empty hallway, head high, spine straight. The secret settled deep inside me, exactly where it would stay. This wasn't something most people could relate to, but that's what made it so wild. What do you think happened between me and him? Was it just a power play or something deeper? I'm still processing it, but I want to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more. You won't want to miss what's next. Thanks for watching.